Guys, today I'm just going to cover some basic concepts using Midi in Pro Tools. So I'm going to cover some general use with Midi, some of the things that you can do with Midi in Pro Tools, or just, how to record with any Midi device that you have. Right now I have my USB key station 88 hooked up to my computer USB. So I'm just going to check with this Midi track to see if it's sending any data. Yeah, seems to be receiving MIDI from my keyboard, so yeah. Let's check the instrument track here. So yeah, it's definitely sending MIDI, and I'm definitely getting it. But yeah, one thing I kind of want to do, I want to clarify as well, is regards to MIDI and instrument track, there is a difference. Obviously you can see that with an instrument track, it's going to record MIDI just like a MIDI track, but it's actually just going to trigger a sound. So for any plugin or any instrument that you have available. For MIDI, that's just going to be purely MIDI. So if you actually want to get the sounds from from the actual keyboard that you're using, that your keyboard generates, you can make an audio track and then hook up those analog outs to a mic. But yeah, that's exactly what it would be used for. But yeah, other than that, besides just instantly checking if you're getting MIDI signals or MIDI data, just from there, record enabling. There's other ways to really check if you have MIDI. I mean, one of the first things you want to check is input devices and set up MIDI, and just check if your MIDI device in general is just being, if it's just there. Obviously, I see that my two MIDI devices I have, UX2, which has MIDI capabilities, as well as a USB key station, which I have plugged in via USB. And other than that, I can also check in the MIDI Studio, which you haven't gone to the audio MIDI setup before. It's in utilities, in your general applications. Here, you'll see any MIDI device that I've ever hooked up to my computer. Obviously, it's there. I can rescan. I can also test MIDI. Right now, I'm hitting the keyboard and it's triggering that sound. So, if you want to know if your MIDI device hooked up to your Mac USB is going to send any MIDI sounds, you want to test setup that way just to see if it's going to send anything first. But yeah, in general, if it just shows up here, it's enough. You don't really have to, go in here and change anything. That's exactly as it should be. I mean, it's just plug in and play, Other than that, you can also use MIDI for controllers in Pro Tools. Now, what it means by, a peripheral controller like that, it's just that it's going to maneuver or, use transport controls or do anything else like that, or trigger to record or play with that controller. I just have a keyboard here, so it's not really going to do much of that. Let's get to a recording MIDI. If you guys notice here, when I go to transport MIDI controls, let's just look at this. This little symbol right here, wait for note, it's actually going to wait for me to hit a note until it records. But let's just do this right now. So yeah, once you record enable, it just starts playing as soon as you play a note, which is pretty handy as well. On down to the MIDI editor, once we have a recorded MIDI track, you'll see that it's a little bit like every other MIDI editor, almost any other DAW. I mean, there's not really much difference, at least in my opinion. It's got a grid. You can change the velocity here if you want on the note. Other than that, another really cool thing I like about this is, and something that I actually found in other DAWs as well, the score editor. Really handy for any person out there that's into composing. Another practice I like to use actually when I hook up MIDI with Pro Tools and I try to record is I try to bounce it as well down to audio. And an example that what I mean by bouncing it down to audio is if I make this the output of this into a bus stereo, then I make an audio track and I make that the input of that bus, as I make that audio track a bus, and then I record enable it. The output will be coming out from there. Thus is basically I'm bouncing or printing it down into another track. And the reason why I would do that, something like this, why I would bounce it down, is what if I'm going to be doing a lot of tracks like this? What if I'm going to be bouncing down a bunch of, these kind of tracks? Sooner or later, my computer's going to start, getting a lot of errors, or just really it's just going to be taxing a lot of my processor. Obviously, you can see the total there is just 4%, so it's not really that big of a deal right now. But what if I want to do like 12 or 20 or 50 more tracks like that all at the same time, and I just want to use nothing but plugins and instrument tracks? It's gonna tax my computer a lot. So that's just a really good practice to have. I mean, you can still edit the MIDI track that you have there a little bit more, and then print it out again so it comes out a little bit better. Or you can another good pro to this is that you have an audio track now that you can edit as audio as if it was real piano. But yeah, um, that's pretty much all I have to cover on MIDI with Pro Tools. I mean, if I missed anything, let me know in the comments. But other than that, yeah, that's about it.